first got the opportunity to present on this panel, on this presentation, one of the things that I did is I had to come up with a topic. And so the topic I said is how to find money for your business, for your startup. But I actually decided that what I really want to talk about is some unconventional ways to grow your business. So when my daughter was young, and her favorite sentence in the whole world was, I do it myself. So whether or not she was learning how to tie her shoes or holding my briefcase, she wanted to hold it herself. And the thing is, as a parent, I used to often be concerned because what would happen for her is she would really be struggling with learning a new thing until she got frustrated and tried it herself and ask for help. But the thing about it is, does anybody have a child like my child? Yeah, put a smiley face in the chat. So with my daughter, one of the things that I knew about her is I could often shorten her learning curve or help her to discover some new things if she was going to be open to learning a new thing. So when I think about the women who are part of this summit, I see some very similar things. What I see for them is I see a lot of I do it myself in the women that I work with. You know who you are. You are smart, you are talented, you are committed, you are all of those things. And you are often trying to do everything on your own. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that sometimes it can slow you down in what you were trying to do. So what we're going to do today is I am Felicia Gopaul. I often work with smart, professional, entrepreneurial women like yourself. And I talk to them about how we can take what I know, share it with you, and perhaps short circuit some of the learning curve that you might go through. So I have been in the financial services industry for over 28 years. I've been featured in a number of different places over that time frame, but you don't really care about that. What you really want to know is about those three unconventional ways that I'm going to share with you about how you can find money that you are perhaps overlooking that you can use to grow your business. So what I have the next 45 minutes or 40 minutes. And in that time frame, I'm going to share with you some unconventional ways entrepreneurs are raising money to grow their business. So why me? So I have personally learned made all of the mistakes that I have seen other entrepreneurs make. And what I do is I work with smart, determined, strong, confident women to help them get focused on their business on their business growth. So I personally have made all the mistakes that I see current business owners make. And I'm here today to share with you some ideas and advice that I give my business owner clients about how to implement and do things to grow their business to the next level. It's information that I wish that somebody had shared with me when I was kind of going through it. And it's my fervent wish that each and every one of you don't have to go through the years of trial and error that I went through. So why the topic? Well, this topic, as I said, is really for those of you out there who are taking on the challenge of launching and growing your businesses, but you're struggling to find the money that you need to grow your business to the scale, size, and impact of your dreams. So the big problem for all of those women is the fact that it takes something. It takes something to go from where you are in terms of starting your business to getting the money that you need in order to make a difference. And what you're doing is you're struggling with your cash flow, your income, your revenue, all of those sorts of things. And you're trying to make sure that they are consistently delivering to your bottom line. So the three ideas that I'll be sharing with you will be ideas that you can tap into money that you are unknowingly and unnecessarily overlooking in the strategies that you're using to grow your business. So I say unknowingly because it's stuff that you don't know, and unnecessarily it's stuff that you're doing that perhaps could be improved over time. So, how many of you, and I want you to put yes in the chat. So, how many of you have already planned to use your savings or dip into your retirement plan or crowdsource to get the capital that you need to grow your business? And you can put a that's me in the chat if that sounds like you. Or how many of you know that you need the money to grow your business, but you're not sure where it's coming from? So you can put a why in the chat or in the comments. Now, the good news is no matter how you answer those two questions, we're going to get a ton of information out to you today. Because if you already have the dream, the vision, the confidence to start your own business, we can elevate the plan that you're already putting in place. We can elevate it, we can speed it up, we can provide you with some additional resources that you'll be able to increase the likelihood that your business will grow to an extent that you don't have to run back to that corporate job that you just left. For those of you scratching your heads and wondering how I could possibly be talking to you because you are sure there's no money that you have ever overlooked when it comes to growing your business, you're going to get your eyes open. You're going to find out there is money that you may have been stepping over that will get you moving forward. So no matter where you are today, whether or not you have already kind of made the decision that you're going to tap into money that you already have, or you're thinking, I don't know where the money is coming from, you're in the right place. Because we're going to elevate your planning and we're going to introduce you to some resources that you may not have known about. So the thing about small business owners is every single year, about 64,000 women go out to start their own business. And that's about 1,800 a day that do it. And Black and brown women represent about 12% of the population. So that's approximately 80,000 of that 664 that are Black and brown women who are starting businesses. The unfortunate fact that a lot of people start businesses, but not all businesses succeed. And about 40% or 50%, about 40,000 or 50% of those businesses that start end up failing and going out of business. So what are the top reasons why businesses fail? Well, 82% of them fail because of cash flow problems. They just don't have enough income assets or income and cash flow to keep the doors open. The next one is they just have inadequate management. They are not the right person. The team that surrounds them is not the right person. The management team is just not firing on all cylinders together. And so they just have inadequate management that is keeping them from growing their business. The next thing is they just have a faulty business model. The business that they started is not the right business for the times. It's not set up the right way. And so they just have a faulty business model. And the last reason that businesses go out of business is they just have unsuccessful marketing. They're trying different sorts of things. Oftentimes with entrepreneurs like yourselves, what I find is we've got the shiny object syndrome. And so we try different things. And so all sorts of, these are all the top 4 reasons why businesses fail. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the 80%, which is cash flow. It's really the lifeline for so many businesses. And I said 82% of businesses fail because they're having cash flow problems. And that's a big problem. And the thing that's important for women to understand is we don't have, and the problem that we all see and we all know about is we don't have the money that we need to grow our business. And the thing that is really startling in those statistics is that Black and Brown women are more likely to fund their own business. We don't usually go out and look for help. We're usually relying on ourselves to fund our businesses, and it's a problem. So the most common ways that I've seen most women fund their business growth is they go to their credit cards, they go to their savings, they tap into their retirement plan, or the new thing that I'm seeing increasingly women doing is they're going to crowdsourcing. So these are the most common ways that women fund their business growth, but it creates a problem. So what I have seen as a financial advisor over the 28 years is I see that people handle their finances in very straightforward ways. And I'm talking about just in general how they handle their finances. There are people who are savers, there are people who are debtors, and then there are people who are wealth creators. So let's talk about those different categories of people. So we've got our savers. Who's a saver? Put a yes in the comments. So if you're a saver, you hate to pay interest on anything. And you're disciplined, you will take the time to save up the money that you need in order to do anything. And our savers, what they do is they save money, they're saving, they come up with a goal, they're saving a little bit, saving a little bit more, saving a little bit more, until they finally get to the amount of money that they need, and then they use it to pay it off. And then they start working on the next goal. And so they put a little bit more, and then pay it off. And then they pay a little bit more, save a little bit more, save a little bit more, save a little bit more, pay it off. It's a vicious cycle. So the savers are saving cash, they're earning interest, just a little interest on it, and then they're paying cash for everything. They use it to launch their business, and then they spend down the money that they use to save to build their business to take care of the next thing. And the problem for our savers is if the business takes longer than you were hoping it would to grow, then you've basically spent down your assets over time. It's a vicious circle that we're going in, and you have to borrow, and you end up borrowing from yourself in order to fund your business growth. It reduces your cash position and leaves you vulnerable for all of the things that can happen when you're growing a business. You're ending up making payments to yourself, and you're never receiving the long-term growth of your money. So am I talking to you? And if I am, then put a "that's me" in the chat. The next category of people out there is really the people who are debtors. The debtors are the people, and you know who you are, and I'm not going to ask you to identify yourself in the chat, but if you're a debtor, you have no savings and you're earning no interest. When I first got the opportunity, so am I talking to you? And if I am, then put a "that's me" in the chat. The next category of people out there is really the people who are debtors. The debtors are the people, and you know who you are, and I'm not going to ask you to identify yourself in the chat, but if you're a debtor, you have no savings and you're earning no interest. You're basically paying all of your, using your future earnings to pay for your current debt. So you're going further and further into debt. And so your debtors have a very similar circumstance in that they're charging up a little, charging up a little, charging up a little, and then they get to the point where they can't charge anymore, and or they pay it off, and then they do it again. So what it does is it impacts and puts a strain on your cash flow, especially while you're growing your business, and that could really be problematic for you. The third category of people, and these are the people that I love working with, is they're the wealth creators. And the wealth creators have some particular things that they do really well. And if you are listening today, I say that you are somebody who is already committed to being a wealth creator. You're a small business owner who is looking to use your business to grow your wealth. So you created businesses that are looking to serve a need in the communities that you've identified and leave a legacy to yourself as well as to your family in the future. You tend to put money back into your business, allowing your other money to grow. So what do I mean by that? I just mean that what you're doing is you're putting your money back into, and any other investments that you have on the side, you're just letting them grow so that it's creating and building more wealth for you. You think of your business as a long-term asset, and you want to have all of your long-term assets working and growing for you. But the most important thing for the wealth creators is the wealth creators are really good at retaining the liquidity, use, and control of their money. And that's the big difference between the big for the wealth creators. They're really good at that. So as I said, what you do, there's a saying that I've heard in the past, which is how you do anything is how you do everything. So how you handled your personal money tends to be what people do when they're in business. They are either savers when they're first starting out with their business, or they're debtors, or they're wealth creators. And they have that mindset. So they take what they did in their personal lives into their business, and it has an impact. So let me say that for people who are listening today, the thing that I would have you think about is, and ask you is, did you know that there's money that you are unknowingly and unnecessarily forgetting that you already have access to, that you can use to grow your business? And that's what I'm going to talk about in the rest of the time that we have today. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I told you about my daughter and how she was an I do it myself kind of girl, and she got it honest. So I am a did it myself kind of girl. And so when I launched my first business, I was a debtor. And so I put all of the expenses of running that business on my credit cards until I got to a point where I hit my limits and I couldn't charge anymore. And so the unfortunate thing is I then had to kind of go back to work. So and I sat there and said, you know what, this strategy doesn't work. And so I need to do something different. So the next strategy that I decided to do was I decided to, instead, I was going to be a saver. And so I was going to save up a ton of money and use that to launch the next iteration of my business, which luckily for me turned out to be in the financial services industry. So I had a nice chunk of money setting aside in my business, and I launched my business. But the unfortunate thing is, I was one of those shiny object kind of girls, and I spent a ton of money on all sorts of marketing that didn't work. And so I ended up depleting what I had set aside, and I had to go back and get another job. And so what I ended up with is really this situation here, where I had cascading problems. So I had already tried I had used up my savings, I had used up my credit, And so both times I had to go back to work and get a job. It was really the smack upside the head that I needed. And what I went through as I was experiencing that is I found that it was deflating to my ego to have gone through that. I found that it was deflating to my sense of self, and it made me feel like a failure. Does that resonate with anybody in the audience? And put a Y in the chat box if that resonates with you. So what I decided to do is I looked at what I had been doing in my personal financial planning practice, and I realized that I had a concept that I really wasn't applying to my own life at the time. And the concept was opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is anytime you give up a dollar that you could have otherwise kept. Not only did you lose the dollar, but you lost the interest on the dollar. Not only that, but the interest on the interest, called compounding interest. So what I was doing in my old life before I really got the smack upside the head is I was not applying opportunity costs to what I was doing with trying to build my business. And when I did, it really turned everything around for me, and it could do the same for you. So I'm going to share with you next 3 unconventional ways to raise money to grow your business. So I want to first start with a little caveat. So I'm a financial advisor. We always have caveats. So I'm going to tell you that this is not, I'm going to tell you about a woman by the name of Fatima, and Fatima is not real. So let me just say that Fatima is not real. What she is kind of a combination of a number of different clients that I've had in the past, and I'm just using her as a way to illustrate the point. So the thing that I want to start with is don't do this alone. All the ideas that I'm going to share with you next are not things that you should do on your own. You should really be working with somebody like myself who understands the rules and won't get you into trouble. So let's talk about Fatima. So this is how Fatima or yourself could possibly access up to $30,000 she needed to grow her business. So how did she do it? First and foremost, she tapped into her life insurance. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. So $5,000 from her life insurance, $10,000 from her Roth IRAs that she started when she was in her 20s, and $15,000 interest-free loan that she got from Kiva, endorsed by Blaze Group LLC. So a total of $30,000. So I say this to give you an idea of what is possible, not what is, but each and every one of you will have a different circumstances. So just use this as a starting point for your thinking, as opposed to these are hard and fast numbers. So let's talk about the first thing. So the first thing is Fatima had some parents who started her with a permanent life insurance policy when she was like 8 or 9. And so they paid into the life insurance policy. And then when she was in her 30s or late 20s, early 30s, they turned it over to her. She continued to put money into it. And now she's in her 40s and she's thinking about launching her business. And she's looking for, how can I get money to grow my business? She remembered that she's got this cash value life insurance. She remembers her parents said, hey, you might be able to take some money out of it, and that would be really important. So what is cash value life insurance? Well, it's a permanent policy, so very different from a term policy, which has no cash value. Permanent policies will build cash value that you can tap into. So the cash value is the value or the part of the policy that earns interest that you can withdraw or take a loan from. And in this case, Fatima was able to get $5,000 from her policy. Why do you need it? Well, what it really is this is the classic example of other people's money. She can get $5,000 from her policy collateralized against what the insurance company will give her from her policy. And so she's able to let the money in her policy continue to grow, but she's using the insurance company's money in order to fund the business growth. The challenge and the reason why those of you who have cash value life insurance aren't tapping into it is one, it might be just improperly structured. So there is a right way and a wrong way to structure your cash value policy. There's a lot of agents out there who will sell you a cash value life insurance, but they don't know how to structure it properly so that it benefits you in the future. So that's the first thing. The other thing is it's improperly funded. And what do I mean by that? So if it's improperly funded, that means that when people buy insurance, they often will get the most insurance that they get for the least amount of cost that they can put into it. Now, the problem with that is, and what and that actually has most people going with the term insurance to begin with. But if they had invested in a permanent policy, they find that they are trying to put in as little as possible. Well, that won't work for you. If you don't put a lot, if you don't put more money into it, then it will not be properly funded and you won't have the resources built up into your cash value policy to give you what it is that you need. Or they have, the last thing is just improper intentions. So what I mean by improper intentions is the agent who offered you the insurance was taking care of themselves, but they weren't necessarily taking care of you. They weren't looking at how can we structure this in such a way so that you will get a benefit for yourself in the future. And that's one of the things that the thing about insurance. So if you have a cash value policy, and you might have a variable life, you may have a universal life, you may have an index universal life, there's lots of different, you may have a whole life. What happens is for many of you, you get your statements, you get your statements, you get a letter from the insurance company, and you basically file it. So you just basically put it away. You don't really look at it. You don't really understand how you can tap into it. So for my filers out there, what I want you to do is I want you to go to your files, get the name of the insurance company and give them a call. Give them a call and ask them, how much money do I have in my cash value? And that's really the first thing and the thing that you have to do. So what else do you need to learn about being able to tap into it? Well, first and foremost, you need to know how much cash value you have, how can you access it, whether or not it makes sense to borrow or withdraw the money from your policy, what interest rate you might be paying on the money that you were borrowing from your policy. Those are all the additional things you need to know before you might move forward with this particular idea. So let me tell you about a client of mine who in the past had a cash value policy. It's somebody who was in her 20s. It was actually a set of twins who were in their 20s. They met a person like myself who helped them properly structure a life insurance policy for themselves that built up on the sizable amount of cash value. And they were able to, because they were real estate investors, they were able to use the cash value in their policy to buy not one, not two, but 3 different properties, or use it for the down payments for 3 properties that they built. So if you are somebody who is got a cash value life insurance, what I want you to do is go, not right now. So what I want you to do is go and pull that statement out, call the insurance company, and that's the way that you can potentially do this. And again, remember I said, do not try these alone because we don't want to have you do anything that's going to mess up the planning for you. The second source of money to grow your business that I would encourage people to use, and go back to our friend Fatima. So she was able to get $10,000 from this particular resource. So the second source of money to grow her business that she could tap into is the money that she had put in her Roth. So she had met a financial advisor like myself in her 20s. So she put in $2,000 into a Roth for 5 years. So $10,000 altogether into her Roth. And the good news is now she's in her 40s and she can take that $10,000 back out. So what is a Roth? A Roth is a individual retirement account that you contribute to with after-tax dollars. It grows tax deferred over time. You're not paying any interest on the money as it's growing, and you can take it out tax-free. It's a beautiful thing for people who invested in Roths. And what I know about the people who are listening today is some of you put in more than just that $2,000. And the thing that's really great about a Roth is you can tap into it for yourself to the extent that you have contributed to. So if you contributed more than $10,000, if you ended up doing the max over time. I have a daughter who is just getting started as an investor. She's putting in the max every single year. So she's 2 years into her 2 years into working. So she's put $12,000 into it. So she's got $12,000 in 2 years. So again, if you're somebody who has implemented and put in place a Roth for yourself, remember you can take out your contribution. So why you need a Roth is it really does two different things for you. First and foremost, it gives you some money that you can tap into for your business growth, which is an immediate need. And then the second thing is it's also still a retirement vehicle. To the extent that there is growth in it, that money continues to grow long term for you, and you can still use it. So you can use it for both the short term needs of your business. You can use it for the long term, your own retirement, and it's a beautiful thing. There's two reasons why I find people don't tap into the Roth. Is first and foremost, they think that they forgot that the same rules that they're thinking about in terms of their 401ks or IRAs apply to Roths. Roths are a very different vehicle. They don't have that. They don't have the same, you don't have, since you've already paid your taxes on the money as it went in, you are not paying taxes on the contribution that you are taking out or the money that you take out in the future. That's a beautiful thing. In addition to that, at 59 and a half, if you were to take out your initial contribution, you're not subject to that 59 and a half rule that you've got in the back of your mind saying, that's why I can't take my money out of my Roth. So you don't have those restrictions and you can do it. The other thing that I find that keeps women from tapping into their Roth is they didn't realize they can use it for their business. They're actually thinking that this is a retirement asset. I have to use it for retirement. And while it's designed for retirement, if you have something happening in your life, like you're trying to fund the next stage of your business growth, you can tap into the contribution and use it for your business, which again is a beautiful thing. So it allows you to keep the other assets that you have growing for you, and you can tap into this as a resource instead. The one thing that I would have you do if you have a Roth is I want you to go and research and find out how much money you have contributed to it. So if you've been working, if you have your money with one particular place, they know how much you've contributed over time. So reach out to that mutual fund company, and ask them how much did you contribute, and that will serve as how much money you could potentially take out. The next group of people are the thing about your Roth is you just need to understand that there are all sorts of things that are going on with your Roth, and you need to make sure that you understand the rules, the regulations, what you can do, what you can't do. All of those sorts of things are things that you have to know before you tap into it. So that's the second source of money that you can use to grow your business. And the third source I'm really excited about, and it's one that I learned about once I became part of the people who were presenting, was that Blaze actually has a resource and has formed an alliance with Kiva, where if you are a legitimate business, where you've legally formed your business, you've got an EIN number or doing business as, you've got a legitimate brand, you put a business plan together for your interest, you submit interest, then you can take out this loan with them. So what is a loan? A loan is basically money that you borrow that you have to pay back. Very simple. You've got a set time period that you have to pay it back in. It's a beautiful thing. So why do you need it? Well, you need it for the next stage of your business growth. So if you're a woman who is interested in growing your business, this is a great resource for you because you don't have to pay interest on it. Every other loan that you will go out and try and secure for yourself will have some sort of interest rate that you have to pay back. And that's a big challenge for you. So the challenge and the reason why a lot of you who are listeners today have not tapped into this is first and foremost, like myself, you didn't even know that this resource existed. So I'm telling you about it. So I want you to put a check mark in the chat if you think that you're going to at least go and check it out. And the thing about the reason why a lot of Black and brown women don't use money, don't borrow money, is first and foremost, we know that it's going to increase the stress on your cash flow at the same time, because you still have to repay it back out of your cash flow, even if you're not paying interest, and you don't want to take on the additional stress. And the last thing is Black and brown women are less likely or more likely to self-fund their business. And that's more of that I do it myself mentality showing up. So if you want to see if this loan program might be something that you might be able to tap into, then I want you to go to www.blazegroupllc.com/capital to see the parameters, the rules, the regulations about that particular loan. And what else do you need to know? Well, you also need to know how is taking out a loan going to impact your cash flow? How are you going to pay it back? What are the requirements? Does it work for you? All of those things are things that you need to know in order to figure out whether or not this is what you want to do. So I have a lot to say in a limited amount of time. So what I want to do next is just kind of summarize the three things. So I started with two resources that you can tap into. And I used Fatima, who is a fictional person, who is a combination of clients that I have come across in the past. And she was able to get $5,000 from her permanent life insurance policy. So you've got to ask yourself, do I have a permanent life insurance policy? How much could I potentially tap into? In this case, Fatima was able to tap into $5,000. She was also able to tap into $10,000 from her Roth contributions that she made when she was in her 20s, let the money grow, and was able to take it out in her 40s to use it to fund. And many of you will have more money than that or less money than that, but it's a potential resource that you might be able to tap into for your business growth. And then the third thing is, for everybody who is listening, is there is this resource with Blaze that is a $15,000 up to $15,000. Let me be clear, up to $15,000 interest-free loan that you might be able to get from Blaze. So whether or not you have money in the first two vehicles, what I want you to do is I want to encourage you to see what's available to you to use to fund the next level of business growth. So if you don't have those resources, what you might want to do is reach out to a person like myself, and we can help you set that up for the next stage of your business development. So if you haven't done it in the past, you can still set it up for the future. And that could be very helpful. So what I want to do is just I want you to leave you with imagining that that you have the money that you need to grow your business to the scale, size, and revenue of and impact that you'd like to have. So I want you to imagine you have the money you need to grow your business. Imagine that you have it so that you can grow your business to the size, revenue, and impact of your vision. And imagine that you can leave a legacy to the next generation. So for our listeners today, I find that the listeners are women who are committed. So women who are listening today are committed to the actions that it will take to grow their business to the scale and size that they want. They're women who are willing to do the work. They're women who often will put their heads down decide on a course of action, and steam full ahead. So if all I did today was remind you that you had cash value in your life insurance policy that you might be able to tap into to use for the next level of business growth, has your time been worth it? So if all I did was introduce you or remind you of the Roth that you set up in your 20s or 30s and reminded you can tap into it to use it for your business growth, has your time been worth it? I say yes. And if the last thing is, if all I did was show you that there was this resource that you could tap into that you can use to get up to $15,000, has your time been worth it? And I say yes for you. So I'd like to, you might be wondering how I help and how I can help. And for everybody who is listening, I really want to offer you two things. One is for everybody. I want to offer you an opportunity to go to www.giftfromfelicia.com/Blaze. And what you will receive there is a PDF, which has just got the highlights of it. It's really for those women who are just like, you know what? I'm going to continue to do it myself. You gave me some really great information, Felicia, but I'm going to figure this out on my own. And again, there's no harm, no foul. There'll be a page in the PDF at the end that will tell you how to get a hold of me. So when you decided that you were done with I do it myself mentality, you could reach out and talk with me. And for the next group of people, I want you to go to www.chatwithfelicia.com. So it's chatwithfelicia.com/Blaze. And at that, this is really for my action takers, the women out there who are action takers, who are looking for some support and guidance to implement the ideas that I've shared with you today, and they don't want to make any mistakes. So there's nothing to, what you'll do is you'll be taken to a link, which is my calendar, and you'll get to schedule some time. So that's me with Randy Zuckerberg. And yes, that is Mark Zuckerberg's sister that I'm talking to in that particular conversation. There's nothing to do and nothing to bring for the Chat with Felicia conversation. It's just an opportunity for you to know who I am, what it is that I do, and perhaps how I can help you and see if we're a fit and have a basis for working together. So again, you can go here to chatwithfelicia.com/Blaze. I will be limiting the number of opportunities for people to talk with me, but if you're an action taker, I really want to encourage you to reach out. And for the rest of you who are my friends, my sisters, my daughters, my fellow visionaries, my queens, my rulers, my women, I want you to get to a place where your business growth provides you with the flexibility, freedom, opportunity, and fulfillment that had you bet on yourself and even start a business. I want you to imagine a time when your business allows you to maximize your earning potential, leverage your talents, and is in alignment with your business. And finally, I want you to imagine a time where you get to the place where you have the time to do what you want, when you want, with whom you want, and have the money to do it all. And that, for me, is what a successful, growing business can provide. So no matter where you are in this whole process, I wish you well. I wish you your business growth. I hope that you are successful, and I would love to be there to help you. But if you're welcome to say, I'll do it myself. So whatever you decide, get the help that you need. A good mentor can take you from where you are to where you want to be, and I invite you to do that. So thank you. I'm really going to be opening it up and being available to answer your questions about what I had to say today. So thanks a lot. I appreciate your time. Looking forward to chatting with you next.
Man, listen. Hi, Felicia.
Hey, how are you?
am amazing. Let me tell y'all something, because I got to speak to some trauma responses right now, because I know that was very weird for a lot of people. Okay, I know we got a lot of healing to do around money. Okay, write in the chat yes or no if you think I knew that Felicia was going to use a huge portion of her segment to talk about the Blaze Kiva loan. Like, please write that, because I want to set this tone to let y'all know that you are safe here. Okay, yes or no? Do you think I knew? Man, this is deep. Like, do you think I knew that Felicia, a financial planner, there are only a few, like literally a dozen Black women, licensed financial planners in the entire country? Yes, y'all are right. No, had no idea. And that should let you know the genuineness of what Felicia is pouring out. We're gonna get to y'all questions because we got a lot of them. Question number 2, this is my last question, because I got to speak to the trauma responses, because I get it, right? There's a high risk question around, like, people treat us differently, right? As Black businesses, and the hurt feels different, right? And it's because we got to heal some relationships with certain things, such as money, right? Such as business, right? And so I want to make sure y'all know how safe you are. Now, next question, last question, I promise. Please write the number of the percentage that you believe that Blaze gets from bridging y'all to interest-free loans up to $15,000. Please write the percentage, right? Whatever number you think it is. I see some zeros. I see some yes, 0%. 0%. I'm gonna say that one more time. I got to speak to the trauma response, because I get it. People have lied to us. They have put these loan sharks in our community. Somebody used our credit scores before we were even old enough, right, to use it. I get it. We don't get nothing for it. Felicia is doing what she's doing. She's plugged Blaze in the way that she did. Blaze is doing what it is doing because we believe that Black women should live in a land of plenty. And because of the knowledge that we are getting, we are going to continue building railroads and railways for our people. This is Black liberation. That we don't even need the gatekeepers. That's what this is. We in proximity to power. That's what this. I hope y'all know that. Like, that's what this is. Like, we are literally in proximity to power so that we can build the railways for our people, for Black liberation. I just want to set that tone so that as y'all listen to these answers, you know that ain't no gimmick, okay? Like, Felicia legit, because we believe Black women should be paid for what they do. Look, Felicia was paid to speak up here, and y'all came for free. There is no gimmick, like none of that, okay? So know that. Now, I'm going to get off my soapbox and we walk off, just so y'all can be vulnerable for this and get what y'all need. Felicia, I'm going to put the first, thank you so much, Mama. I'm going to put the first, that's just amazing to me. First question on the stage, it is from Maria, and she asks, I have gotten grants. What do you think about applying for grants?
So I love grants, and what I love about grants is you don't have to pay them back. I love anything that you don't have to pay back. All you got to do is put in the work to apply for a grant, be structured correctly, give them what it is that they're looking for you to get a grant. And so the more grants you get, that's the more money you bring into your business, and that's all money that you don't have to pay back. And I think that you could benefit from grants.
Ashe, love that. Going to the next one, Felicia. This one is from Sherland Cooper, and she asks, would you advise having 1% of your sales go into a Roth IRA for business emergencies like pandemic or loss of your regular job?
So that's kind of a tough question, but let me try and unpack it for you. So the thing about that I would have you do is so for me, the way that I think about a Roth is another pocket. So I like to have multiple pockets to pull from. It's not just one pocket to pull from. So I like you to have emergency savings. And to the extent after you have your emergency savings, then I also want you to have a Roth. It's not an either or situation, but if you can, if you have the resources to have both, then I'm going to want you to have both so that you have lots of pockets to pull from. So maybe you go to the emergency savings first, And then after you've solved that, or the next round, you might go to the Roth. But again, Roth is ideally is for your long-term investments, your retirement plan. So if you have an emergency fund that you can go to first, then I would ask that you set that up and have that in place first.
Beautiful. So eloquent. Thank you so much, Felicia. Another one, I'm intentionally rapid firing these because there are so many and it's so important. Dana's question is next, and she says, a friend of mine is looking for term insurance, but because she has diabetes, companies won't insure her. Do you have any suggestions for a company I can refer her to? Thanks.
So without knowing any more about her circumstances, the answer is maybe. That's the answer. So there are different insurance companies that will look at different health situations differently. And so what you would need to do is talk to a person like myself. We could shop her around to find a company that would accept her with diabetes, but it has to be controlled. There's going to have to be some parameters kind of built around that. But just know, when you have health issues, it can be challenging to get life insurance, but it doesn't mean you can't get life insurance. It could just mean that it will take some time. So when you're hearing the ads on the TV or on the radio, those companies are looking for somebody who's got clean bills of health. And so you might have to work with a professional like myself who would shop you to the best company that would be more likely to accept you. And you may have to understand that you may have to pay a little bit more because you've got some health issues.
Thank you, Felicia. I'm going to do one more in the Q&A box, and then I'm going to go to you, Ahira. I see you with your hands raised. China, I see you with your hand raised too. So I was about to go to your question. I'm going to say your question. I'm going to bring you on the stage at the same time, China. Okay. So this one says, when can funds be withdrawn from a Roth IRA? Certain time of year, certain amount, etc. And I'll bring her up as well.
Hey, China, thank you so much for your question. And the answer is, the thing that's interesting, or the things that people don't always remember about Roth, is anytime you make a contribution into your Roth, you can immediately take it out. Now, of course, that's not how they're structured, and that's not the ideal situation for you because you have no growth, no whatever. But any monies that you put into an IRA, into a Roth IRA, you can immediately take it out. Anything that you contribute, any growth needs to stay in the IRA for a period of time. And 5 years, 59 and a half, all those sorts of things kind of come into play when you're talking about the growth on your IRA. And it doesn't have to be a particular time of year. There's no Roth going into your Roth season, China. It's just when you need the resources, you can tap into it. Is that clear?
Yes, it is. And I just have one more thing to add on to that. And this is about the 401k. So I had a teacher fund when I lived in Georgia, and we had funds to go into an account, but I moved to a different state. So what happens with that 401k if I'm no longer, working with that employer and don't want to open up another 401k with a new employer and just, do it based off of a business only?
All right. So two different things, China. So thank you for asking that question. So the reality is the old 401k in the former state will just stay there. If you do nothing, it's just going to stay there. It's going to keep on kind of growing over time. But what you want to do is, I think that what you want to do is have control over your own money. So you might want to consider working with a professional like myself and move it over into a IRA for yourself. But remember that the money that was in the 401k is not what I'm talking about with a Roth, because that is going to still be subject to the 59 and a half rules, 10% early withdrawal penalties. All of those things are different from what I was just talking about with Roth. Is that clear?
Yes, it is clear. I know they were different questions, but they you definitely answered both. So thank you so much.
All right, not a problem. Who's next, Miss Casey?
All right, so I'm bringing Ahira onto the stage, and this is okay. Ahira's gonna be the last one, and we're gonna run over a couple seconds. I'm sorry, booth vendors, we coming. But there's just one last question in the Q&A. I'll spin your way too. So Ahira, the mic is yours.
Hi, love the segment. Perfect. Thank you so much. Really,
No
I
problem.
just wanted to just get your website, the different websites that you had mentioned about chatting with you, because when I tried to plug them in, they weren't operational. They weren't open and available. So I just wanted to know if you could repeat what the website was to set up in a chat session with you.
Okay, so the chat with me is Chat with Felicia, ChatWithFelicia.com/Blaze.
Okay.
And I just
Okay.
checked it on my end too, Ahira, and it works.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one, Miss
So
Felicia?
the other one, if you want to download the free report, that is Gift from Felicia, GIFTFROMFELICIA.com/Blaze, BLAZE.
Thank you. That was
All
it.
right.
Thank you. And everyone, the link that Felicia mentioned, it's in the app. It was already on the app when you woke up this morning. I promise you, we got you. Okay. And as mentioned earlier, we're going to do a forward-facing a link that's blazevirtualsummit.com/freebie so that y'all can get on the outside too. But just know we're really, and this is a change in behavior. But what we're trying to do is make sure that you have close proximity, that is at your fingertips, not you having to remember, like you deserve to live in the land of plenty where 365, like Instagram built, right? Like Microsoft builds, like white men build every day, right? You deserve access at your fingertips. So try to get that into your psyche as well. That is not this sense of scarcity. Like it's just there for you. Like it's just there. Get comfortable with that. Last question is coming from Amber Hurt. And she asks, do you have any advice on approaching investors for funding?
So I think that would probably be a better Casey question, but the short answer that I would give to you about this is what you want to do when you're approaching anybody, whether it's your family members or somebody outside of your family, is you just want to make sure that your business is tight. They need to know what your numbers are. They need to know that you understand what your numbers are. They need to know that how you are going to build up the revenue of your business, how you are going to pay them back if they're loaning you money. They need to know all of those sorts of things. So I believe Casey has a program within her business that you can refer to that will get you set up and prepared so that you can be in the best position for investors.
Yeah.
Casey, is there anything you would add?
Brilliant answer, Felicia. That's exactly right. Like the investors want to see that one, like you actually know what you're doing, that you know business management. And this is, I'm gonna say it again, because like we need to hear it enough. Like the CEO can't be the hardest working employee in their business, because the investor will know you don't even have time to be strategic. Like you don't even have time to run projections about what's happening in 5 years so that they can see if you can give them a return in 5 years. Like you don't even have time to do PR and get the like public press right around the globe that you need if you in here like clicking the buttons, right? So yeah, your management strategy has to be tight. Preferably they want to see a team. For the same reason I just mentioned, like if it's just you, like they're not going to be impressed, especially that management team. Who is managing the people who are executing? But then on top of that, cash flow generation, which Felicia talked about a lot, right? So I'll say, right, because this is important. Business models are important. Okay, so I mentioned a couple of things that are true. Yes, this summit is free for y'all. Y'all know I'm not lying, right? Yes, we believe that Black women should get paid for their work, and so we actually lead by example in that, right? Yes, we do not get any margin on the loans that y'all get. So the question should be in your mind: how in the hell are y'all doing that? Because if you're running a business, not a hobby, you should be making money, right? And the answer is, and this is what investors care about too, right? Cash flow generation. You actually need to figure out how you do it. Now, I'll tell you this for free, right? I'll give you Blaze's strategy today, right? Blaze has always, since inception, been building something that can absorb millions of women. So our strategy was never, ever, ever to use these scarcity tactics and find the highest price, things. And like Like, no, it's not enough. It's not enough millionaires out there for us to serve millions of women, right? And so we actually have been strategically looking for volume, right? 7,000 today is 8,000. 8,000 women have come onto our platform because that was always the metric we wanted to show investors. Not necessarily that we can take all of their money out of their pockets. And so what have we done? We've done consulting to generate the revenue, cash flow generation. Last year, not lying, the team can tell you, last year we generated $212,000 in revenue. Last year, right? We could have gotten that from a bank. We could, we just chose to do it in consulting. So we are helping some of the most sophisticated companies in the world do what they do better, right? And that has allowed us to be very patient with you all, because I will tell you for free, right, that typically the 8,000, y'all don't know all the things that these people who can pay me millions of dollars know. So I'm gonna get that coin from them. This is literally what we did. I'm gonna get that coin from them while I am very patient. And that's why y'all saw, those of you who were there this morning, where we said we have learned from you for the last 2.5 years, and now we put it all in the app. That's true. We always wanted to serve millions, right? How do we do that? So now when I go in today, I talk to Microsoft, MasterCard, etc. I showed them that 8,000 Black women have bought into this vision, and they are literally using our stuff. And they're just like, how, right? So the numbers, the traction, right? You decide how that looks this year, right? And now this is important because this needs to happen, CEO, which is why you can't be the hardest working employee in your business, okay? You got to be up here, right? Thinking and strategizing. This year in June, right? In June, as of June 15th, we generated, I think it's 184,000, right? So this year we'll definitely eclipse 300,000, right? But at the same time, we have gotten out of consulting. Why? Because now it's time to turn that switch up. Now we got the app. Now we know what we need to do. Now we know how to generate and monetize our audience and at the right price points, etc., right? And so the goal is to make very soon, next year, $100,000 per month off of this audience that we've been targeting the whole time. The CEO has to be thinking like this, right? Like, y'all got to think about this cash flow generation. How do you survive long enough to know what you're doing? How do you survive long enough to figure out what you're doing? Because it takes 8 years really to perfect that thing, right? So just want to give that context. Felicia, you are absolutely incredible. I adore you with all of my heart. Anything you want to say to the ladies before you bow out gracefully from the stage and end the day?
No, you know what? I am absolutely delighted to have been part of this. It's been tremendous. The quality as a speaker and a participant watching what you have put together. I'm telling everybody that I know that they need to know you so that I can help build your tribe. And I am absolutely delighted to be a part of this program. And thank you so much for inviting me to be part.
Thank you, Felicia. You are the best. Keep doing the Lord's work. We appreciate you. Thank you. All right, y'all. So this is the end of the first day. I hope y'all grab those gems. And again, right, the workshops are a lot more intricate. And so if your head is kind of spinning, it should be that way. Just know that there are a lot more workshops for the rest of the week. We got you kind of warmed up before we started delving into this. But tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like, we're really going in. So be ready for that. Thank you, Amber. Amber said great first day. All right, so we're done. No more sessions, no more workshops, no more talks, no more DJ sessions today. Okay. But definitely go to the vendor booths. I want to explain one more thing before I go, because it's important. Bend, don't break. Like, bend, don't break. Bend, don't break. And I'm talking to CEOs. Okay, like, bend, don't break. How do we offer a free summit? How have we offered a free summit, right, to thousands of people? And I told you that 117 people partnered with us for this. I'm not lying. Like, literally 117 individuals, like human beings, came together to edify you, right? And these are business models. So the person who asked about how do you pitch, et cetera, you got to be able to articulate these things to investors because they care. Because if you can't pay them back, they're not going to give you the money, right? Like, that's what we do with our cousins, them, right? The dollar circulates in the black community for 6 hours. That's just true. If you didn't know that, know that. The dollar circulates in the black community for 6 hours, right? And so Blaze has created ecosystems. People purchase vendor booths. Vendor booth purchases pay for our speakers. Like, like, I know this might, but literally, like, dozens and dozens of vendors are in the audience, right? Or in the summit because they want to be exposed to you. We make sure we bring those people. But we can use that money to pay people who speak in our stages, right? So again, this is I can say this to an investor and they get it and they believe it, right? So just think about, depending on what your target audience is, it's not that you don't have to serve people at a certain base level, right? Walmart does, right? But you must think about how you generate cash flow and where that money comes from. Now, you can always move up market. Okay, we talked about this in the Blaze Mastermind a lot. Y'all get into the Blaze Mastermind if you are interested in these types of high-level conversations. It's on the app, right? You can always move up market. So Casey, right? Personally, I moved up market about 3 times when I started doing consulting to generate the cash flow for the people I want to serve. You can go up market. I had to go to different platforms. I don't find them on LinkedIn. I don't find them on Instagram. I find them on LinkedIn, right? And a lot of word of mouth, etc. I won't get into that, but just be thinking about that stuff, CEO, so that as you step through the rest of the week, you know how to bend, literally bend. You will not survive if you don't bend. Your company will fail if you don't bend. All right, much like Blockbuster did, right? When they saw Redbox, and they still stay the same. But bend so you don't break. All right, go to the booths, have a great time. They'll be dropping some stuff they're doing in the feed. Join from a laptop if you can, because you get to sit at their tables, etc. Take the polls. You all have been giving good, you all have been answering the polls, so thank you so much. Love y'all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care. Bye.